Hello, this is wmpyr. Just saw a couple of videos about this guy who thinks he is the greatest boxer in the world. He has psychological problems. What he does is he goes to exercise gyms and he tries to basically trick people into sparring him, and he records it and puts it onto YouTube. And each one of those, the people are scammed basically. They're caught off guard. He tells them, like, I just need to spar real quick. We could go light sparring. And the moment they agree and put on the gloves and he's like, you ready? He just goes at them full force, try to catch them off guard. And he claims victory for each one of those. The other person's like, whoa, this is not what I expected. And then he's already like, okay, that's another victory for me. So this is the kind of thing he's doing. Apparently he's been doing this for a while, and they call him like one of the biggest YouTube trolls and internet trolls and blah 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 blah. Okay, now it's easy to dismiss the person as crazy and psychotic and be like, yeah, he's messed up. And if you do that, then you kind of like miss the lesson out yourself. So what I want to do is kind of examine his case and apply it to myself, because I want to learn from his mistakes. And surprisingly, when I look at my own martial arts background back in the day, I did kind of the same thing that he did. Thankfully, not as bad as what he did, but it was definitely along the same lines. And when I look at other people, I see plenty of other people in martial arts who have done similar stuff. It's almost like it's necessary in your martial arts training to go through this phase. And that's probably the reason why we see so many people arguing and being trolls and hating on each other when it comes to martial arts, because of this kind of similarity in attitude, in the way of thinking. So essentially, I think what happens here is that we get confused and we don't understand the difference between like in my previous video that I was talking about academic training. So academic training, the learning and testing yourself. We don't know the difference between the two, right? So if you sucker a person in and say, hey, we're just going to spar real quick, it'll be light. So the other person's like, yeah, I want to experience some boxing, I want to learn some boxing. And then you go at it full force and you're thinking, okay, now I'm 6-0 or whatever. Then for you, you're testing yourself. The other person's here to learn. And you're taking advantage of someone who's not here to test themselves. They're just here to learn, and you're going all out on them. So that is not a fair thing to do. That's very cowardly. And I did it myself. Like I said, I admit when I was younger, I made the same mistake. I could tell you flat out, and I've said it many times, that I'm 10-0. I am undefeated in unsanctioned challenge matches. Okay, if you have a 10-0 record in MMA, if you're a professional MMA fighter and you're 10-0, that's a huge deal. That's not easy to do. Okay, I'm gonna flat out admit, and I'll say it to you, that my 10-0 record, unsanctioned challenge matches, whatever the heck that means, right? They were against questionable opponents. I'll admit. And I'll say that the rules and all that were questionable. Sometimes they were completely undefined, so I took advantage of that. There were some cases where I wore shoes, knowing that that was going to give me a huge advantage, and it did. You get kicked with someone wearing heavy shoes like I did versus zero shoes. It's a big difference. I crack now I could do toe kicks, savate style. I kick you in the shin with some heavy shoes like that. You're going to be in huge pain. So this is the kind of tactics that I used in some of these unsanctioned matches, and I can tell you most of the guys that I faced were probably nowhere near my caliber. And that's one of the things maybe Miyamoto Musashi said or didn't say, I'm not quite sure, but if you are going to do challenge matches, you never challenge or you never fight someone that's better than you. You never fight someone that you're going to lose to. And I know that's cowardly, but that's real combat. That's how it works. Why would you go up against someone? If you're trying to learn, then yes, you're going to go up against better people than you, because you want to see what they do. How are they going to attack you? How are they going to destroy you? You're trying to learn. So win, loss, that kind of thing doesn't matter. By learning, you win, right? But if it's all about just the result, if all I need to do is win, then you'll do everything it takes. And in a street type situation, in challenge match situations, you can get away with a lot of things that you can't in a pro bout, because it's unsanctioned. There's no referees, there's no judges. You could just make the call, and you could say, well, I landed more jabs, therefore I won the decision right there. If this was real, I won. You could just make stuff up like that, even though at the end of the match, the guy just destroyed you. You could say, for the first majority of the match, I landed more jabs, I win. You could say stuff like that because it's not real. You just took advantage of somebody. So that's why this kind of attitude to me is not good, because you'll start defending yourself in unfair ways. And that's what I did. I say 10-0, 10 wins, 0 losses, but guess what? I don't mention anything about my draws, right? And that's the trick. When you have a bunch of draws, which I did, those against the guys that I had draws with, those are the guys that were pretty good. Those are the guys that gave me a run for my money. But I was able to somehow just be like, okay, that's it. That's the end of the match. That it was just 10 minutes. That's it. Or I just make stuff up like that. I'm tired. Okay, it's over. I'm resting. And then I could be like, but I won. This is the kind of, or I didn't lose. And that is the kind of cheating ways that you can do. And your brain is going to naturally do that, protect your ego. And that's what I was doing. And yeah. And like I said, you are, a lot of times when you do that, when you're sparring and doing this kind of challenge, testing yourself, you're going to face people that are weaker than you. You're going to take advantage of them. You're going to learn how to destroy people that are weaker than you. And what happens there? Well, then you're learning bully skills. You're learning how to beat people that are weaker than you. And to me, that's not necessarily real martial arts, because real martial arts to me is when you face someone that's better than you, when you face a formidable or worthy opponent. Now let's see what you got. Or if you are going to lose this match for sure, or you're going to lose this fight, how are you going to lose it? Are you going to lose like a coward, or are you going to lose like a warrior? And that to me is important, the way you're going to go, essentially. So and doing these kind of testing fights, like I said, your ego, your mind is going to protect you, so you're going to be a coward. You're going to fight cheap, like Musashi, the guy in a battlefield situation. He hid in a ditch for 3 days or something like that, but hey, he survived, because that's what's important in real combat. It's just about the result. It doesn't matter if you cheated or there's no rules. But like I said, but you want to develop the skill, you want to learn, that's another story. You got to do it differently. So the example that I want to give you guys is, so for martial arts, it should be about the learning, right? It's not about the performance. So in martial arts, it should be about the learning, and I'm going to give you 3 examples. Number 1, real quick, because I don't want to make this video too long. Number 1 is a university. Number 2 is a tech school. And then number 3 is where, like, maybe it's a family business, and boom, pretty much right after high school or even before that, you start working immediately, and you go and you learn as you're doing it. So that to me is kind of like the testing, where you are learning as you go. Because yes, even in testing, even in full contact sparring or in competition, you can learn for sure. But like I said before, that kind of learning is different from the academic style of learning. So now let's examine the university. A big university, they're teaching you how to learn. They're giving you all the references. They're giving you all these different areas, like very broad, start from science, English, like language, math, history. They're trying to give you broad stuff. Even it doesn't matter what your major is, because they want you to learn how to learn. They want to give you the tools. They want to teach you how to research and that kind of idea. So you have a general background in how things kind of work. So that's the greater education type thing, right? You go to a tech school, or more like a hands-on type school, like where it's like a 2 years type program, something like that. Chances are if you are going to be a computer related job, then the computer programs that you're going to be using are probably what you're going to actually be using at the actual job that you're going to have by the end, or something similar. If you are going to become a mechanic, then chances are at this school you're already working on engines and stuff like that. So that's more hands-on. To me, this is closer to like a what do you call it? Reality-based martial arts type system. One of those military styles or urban self-defense type stuff. To me, is closer to a tech school where it's more direct. But the education amount is a lot smaller. The detail is less, in a sense. But what you're doing is much more directly applied to what you're going to be using. On the other hand, the university to me is more like a traditional martial arts where it's going to include philosophy, it's going to health exercises, stretching exercises, just so much more in that sense. But it may not be, you could get lost in there. And then once you graduate, what you're going to be doing at your actual job might be totally different from what you did at the university, where you're going, okay, now at this job I'm totally green and I have to learn the job, where it's completely different. So that's just a quick example, some food for thought. Thank you for listening, and take care, folks.